On this week's episode, we're asking if there is just way too much Disney going on for audiences to handle. What big title is coming to the Nintendo Switch? And could Fortnite be beating PUBG at its own game? All this and a Nintendo Quest takeover as we once again reach oh, all this and a Nintendo Quest takeover as we once again reach our next stop, the PCC Multiverse. And we're back with another episode of the PCC Multiverse. This is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly appreciate you hanging around and you checking us out and being part of the program. Well, it wouldn't be a PCC Multiverse without my good friend. He is the man, the myth, the legend behind Humanica Media. You got to check out all the great things going on at humanicamedia.com. Also, as well, the Humanica Media channels on YouTube, Podbean, and also Apple Podcasts as well. It's my good friend, the author of the now completed Congratulations, You Suck. It's Josh Peterson. What's going on, my friend?
Hey. Yeah, book's done, finally. Just sent it off to a few people for reading. It's the first time anyone's going to be reading it, except for the excerpts I've been putting up online. But yeah, I'm excited, man. Feels like I got this giant weight lift off my shoulders. Still don't know how I feel about it, but it's done.
Well, that still is awesome indeed, and it should be coming out, if everything all goes well, by the summertime, as far as available to purchase via Amazon and all the other great places to go to for book buying?
Yeah, the plan is to have it out before June's over, so I'll have a more exact date here coming up.
Okay, that sounds good. That sounds good indeed. Once again, it is Congratulations, You Suck by my good friend, Josh Peterson. It's going to be available very soon to Amazon, Goodreads, Barnes & Noble, and other great book outlets. Well, it's going to be a great show for us today. We've got a lot to talk about, including all the stuff going on in the world of Disney. Is it just too much for everyone out there to handle? We're going to tackle that situation coming up here in a second. Plus, also as well, we've got my good friend, Rob McCallum. And, well, you know what, Josh? It's a Nintendo Quest takeover because the stars of Nintendo Quest, both Rob McCallum and Jay Bartlett, are going to be joining us in separate segments. Rob McCallum is coming up in the Cosmic Crossfire. He's going to be talking about some fan films that have come under fire from Paramount and Star Trek, and what the future of fan films should be in his opinion. Plus, Jay Bartlett, the actual star of Nintendo Quest, is going to be talking to me about one of his favorite new games and a thing he really, really likes to watch. That's the Overwatch League. He's going to be sharing his thoughts on the league and how it's going, especially his London Spitfire, coming up later in the program. Plus, we're going to be talking about Fortnite, which is done so good, so well, so awesome on Twitch in the past couple weeks. It has now surpassed PUBG as the most watched game on the format, and we're going to talk about why that is. Plus, also, Nintendo just had a Nintendo Direct, and they talked a lot of great things, but there's one game in particular that's on the horizon which needs to be talked about, and we're going to do so later in the program. But Josh, I'll tell you what, my friend, there's a lot going on in the world, the magical world of Disney. It seems like we can't escape it. There's always some Disney property that we have to talk about almost on each and every episode. This week in particular, it's A Wrinkle in Time. The movie's coming out nationwide and also around the world as well. It's it's an adaptation from a children's novel that basically takes a look at a different fantasy type world that a child has to go into to try and save her father. It's not getting the best of reviews right now. Rotten Tomatoes has it under 50%. Targeting right now if it possibly will or will not beat out Black Panther here domestically at the box office. I want to get your thoughts on A Wrinkle in Time because on the surface, with the trailers and whatnot, I kind of liked it and was kind of intrigued into seeing it. And with all the big names attached to it, Oprah Winfrey, Chris Pine, Mindy Kaling, among others, I believe Reese Witherspoon as well, if I'm not mistaken. There's some big names attached to this project. Why is it not panning out the way you think, the way most people think when it comes to a Disney film? And when you finish talking about that, we're going to be talking about a lot of other stuff on the Disney plate as well.
Okay, so if they were to have made A Wrinkle in Time, say, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, I think that it would have performed a lot better. People would have been a lot more excited about it because I don't know about you, but like they stopped telling kids to read that book in school around the time I graduated elementary school. So, I and here's the thing too. At the end of the day, like I liked A Wrinkle in Time. I liked reading the book. I loved it as a kid, but at no point while I was reading that book did I think to myself, "Hey, this would make a really cool movie." I just it wasn't it was interesting, but it wasn't that interesting to me. And, making that's cool, good for them making a movie out of it, but I think much like John Carter of Mars, nobody really has any idea about the source material. So this is just kind of like this is kind of a Tomorrowland situation I'm feeling for A Wrinkle in Time. And I heard an interesting rumor that people were kind of hoping that in the wake of the diversity pleasing, the crowds being pleased by diversity brought on by Black Panther, they were hoping that A Wrinkle in Time would kind of catch that wave and carry forward. I don't know if that's true, but uh, you know, I don't know if that would work because Black Panther is still doing really well. So, I don't know, man. Like, where do you stand on this? Do you have any interest in seeing it?
Well, I thought I did, but seeing the mixed reviews, I mean, to me, it's now gone into the I want to see it probably on home video type format with the kids here in the house. They haven't really mentioned too much about it because, like you said, it's not something that kids read anymore, really, during those ages. And at least that's what I've seen it from my, I have two kids in middle school, and they've not mentioned that one iota. But I do know that it is something that at one time was a mainstay within the early generation environment. But it looks like at this point in time, it's just something that maybe for us a home video rental or something on a streaming format. I just think it's going to be. I think it's hurt by the fact that, like you said, the continual goodwill of Black Panther is where a Disney movie is now going to punish another Disney movie for coming out too close to each other. And with all the other movies that are coming out this year from Disney, Christopher Robin, Mary Poppins, and of course Star Wars with Solo movie, Avengers: Infinity War, and I'm sure I'm not. I'm sure I'm forgetting about one or two others with the Nutcracker, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Wreck-It Ralph 2. I'm sure I'm even forgetting about more. Is there way too much Disney to go around? And especially with the streaming service now that's on the way, is can some of these projects actually go on there and still find a great home and a great way to still earn a profit without having to be coming to the theaters where it doesn't perform the way it should, like you mentioned with Tomorrowland?
Well, okay, so here's the thing that the Disney overlap was inevitable. As soon as they started buying up these properties, I know we talked about this a little bit on the Pop Culture Cosmos show earlier this week, but as soon as Disney started buying up all those properties, like having their movies overlap with each other and kind of breaking into each other's box office markets it wasn't like a matter of if, it was a matter of when. When was that going to happen? And yeah, no, I just as far as to answer your question about the streaming service, I don't I don't know. Like I think that even Disney goes all out with everything they do. They put a lot of money, and if they were to take some of these projects and put them on a streaming service at a lower budget, I don't know if it would have the same effect or if it would even be worth it anymore because a lot of these like live action Disney things, people are barely clinging to interest on it. So if you were to put it on into a format where, they basically have to pay a monthly fee to get a hold of some of this stuff, I don't think that it would do so well. I mean, putting it up on Hulu, like maybe just like a trial run would be, I can see them doing that. But as far as like taking a big budget movie and then kind of serializing it, I don't think that that would be something that's just not something I see Disney doing. And I think that with the John Favreau, was it Star Wars thing, we'll see
That's
if that,
correct.
yeah, we'll
Uh,
see if that works out or not, and that'll kind of be like the testing point. But then again, that is Star Wars, so it's not like the Nutcracker or Aladdin or something.
And I didn't even mention that Ant-Man and the Wasp. That's another Disney movie that you have that's going to be overlapping with another Disney movie on the way. So, and with so many of these projects coming out, and I did want to mention that what you touched on real briefly, John Favreau, the director of Iron Man, and who, if you're familiar with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is Robert Downey Jr.'s bodyguard in the movie, Happy Harrison. He is actually been signed on to create a Star Wars TV show for the upcoming Disney streaming service. So that's something to look forward to if you're interested in the streaming service there. But I think some of these projects should go there because, like I said, when you have so many different projects, the Nutcracker, Wreck-It Ralph, Mary Poppins, Christopher Robin, so many, it goes on and on and on and on. And that's just this year alone. Not to mention, like you and I saw on Twitter when it was posted originally, when it came up, all those upcoming Marvel, Disney, Pixar, and everything else, Star Wars projects that they're jockeying positions around and jockeying dates around. They seem to be just like moving them like chessboards, like chess pieces on a chessboard. It at some point there's going to be a backlash. It's not because it's a general Disney thing. It's just that people will not be able to go and continually enjoy these products when they just get out of going to see Black Panther. Here comes Wrinkle in Time. Here comes Avengers Infinity War. Here comes this movie. Here comes that movie from Disney. And at some point in time, there is going to be a backlash. And I think it's going to start with Wrinkle in Time, where it's not going to be able to find its true full audience that it could have had it not come out at a better, more isolated time where it could really flourish, in my opinion, even with the mediocre reviews, because I think it's still a colorful enough movie and it hits the right audience where if it was given a better shot, it would have been able to get a better positioning, in my opinion. Now, obviously, we haven't seen the numbers as of yet, but what come this weekend, if it doesn't beat Black Panther and it doesn't gain initially $100 million worldwide, I think that's not a great sign for the movie overall and kind of a disappointment for Disney.
Okay, so devil's advocate here. Netflix right now, Netflix, Hulu, whatever. There are so many shows that are worth binge watching. So much original content coming out at once that I don't even have time to sit there and watch it anymore. So I think that, if Disney were to go the streaming route with some of this stuff, it would be the same thing. There'd be, not only would you feel overwhelmed with how much Disney's in theaters, but you would also start to feel overwhelmed with how much Disney is on these streaming services. And that that would just create, that would complete the cycle of burnout for me. And Marvel is understandable because we'll see what happens with production once Infinity War Part 2 goes down. Maybe they'll it'll feel fresh again instead of overwhelming. But there's definitely there's definitely Disney burnout, like, and it's happening and it's going to happen, but we'll see what the aftermath is coming up.
And that's a shame to a movie like A Wrinkle in Time, which again is an adaptation from a great book from years past that I think deserves a better chance and obviously a better look from audiences than most likely. Because I'm here in Vegas and I got those odds that the odds are probably not in favor of it. And I think it deserved a better chance if that's the case than what is being sent out to do right now. It reminds me a lot of what PlayStation does when it creates the title and then as it's getting released, it promotes it, it goes all the way through it. But as it gets released, it doesn't have that kind of faith in it. And we've seen this over the past 10 years with PlayStation, where it sends out titles basically to die. Now, I'm not saying that's the same for Wrinkle in Time, but Josh, come on. This isn't being set up for the best possible platform for success here.
It wasn't released at the right time too. Especially in the wake of Black Panther, with how well Black Panther's doing. If they would have waited maybe to like August, because that's when there's no more Marvel movies coming out for a while. If they would have pushed this to August, I think we'd be here. It'd be a different story, totally different story. But
or even in January, even if they had something in January, because we were talking, it wasn't such a great January for movies at this point in time.
Right, right. So anytime except like, especially like right now in the wake of Black Panther, in between Black Panther and Infinity War, that's a death sentence. It just doesn't make sense to me.
And you've got Tomb Raider next week. You've got Pacific Rim Uprising after that. And then after that, you've got Ready Player One, all vying for that title of #1. So in the next few weeks, we could actually be seeing Black Panther competing against those three movies and having a tougher go at it than it might have this weekend with A Wrinkle in Time. And that to me is a shame, because it seems like it's a very good-hearted movie that touches on a lot of good notes. And unfortunately for many people like me, are probably going to wait until it comes out on video before they get a chance to see this possible very good movie.
Then again, though, Disney does not exactly have the best track record when it comes to adapting old novels.
True. And this, to me, in many ways, this seems like the Golden Compass and the Chronicles of Narnia, when those series of movies came out. The Chronicles of Narnia, right?
Yeah, Chronicles of Narnia is Disney. John Carter of Mars was Disney. Was Golden Compass Disney, I want to say?
No, I don't think it was, but it was in that vein. Those movies came out within a certain time frame of each other, so it was kind of, that to me, it reminds, this movie speaks of that point in time when those movies came out. And I was hoping that children's fantasy movies would come back in vogue again, because sometimes they're the most creative, but it doesn't look like this is going to do so well. And I'm not sure it's going to kickstart that type of genre once again. What are your thoughts out there on A Wrinkle in Time and on Disney movies in general? Is there too many coming out this year and in the near future for you to handle? Is A Wrinkle in Time being suffered because of the fact that it came out so close to Black Panther? Is A Wrinkle in Time going to be something that you're going to watch in the theaters, or are you going to wait till it comes out on a streaming service or home video at some point in the near future? Share us your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. Well, like I said, we've got a great episode. It's a Nintendo Quest takeover, as Rob McCallum coming up in the Crossfire, plus also Jay Bartlett is coming up later. His co-star, or he'll tell you he's a star now, he's going to be coming up later in the broadcast talking about Overwatch League and all the great things going on there. But first, we got our good friend Elijah Harrison. His alter ego is Plasma Z, and this is Supernova, and this is the PCC Multiverse. And we're back with the PCC Multiverse. This is Gerald Glasser from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. Thank you so much for standing by, and we appreciate you sticking out and watching us on the, and we appreciate you checking us. We appreciate you checking us out here on the show. Again, to tell everybody out there, as we do on every show, if you get a chance, check out our Facebook pages for Humanica Media and Pop Culture Cosmos. If you want to know the times for our shows on the days and times, because we're now being streamed on an online radio station every single day of the week. Sundays we're being streamed on Airwave Radio in the UK, Good Talk Radio out of Arizona. Also on Monday, we're being streamed on IPMNation.com. Also as well, Grey Cloud Radio. Also as well, Croc Radio out of Canada. And of course, the Podcast Radio Network, our original home. On Tuesday, it's Western Reserve Digital Broadcasting. Wednesday, it's Wednesday, it's Gray Cloud Radio. Thursday, it's Western Reserve Digital Broadcasting. Friday, it's Croc Radio, IPM Nation, Gray Cloud Radio, and the Podcast Radio Network once again. And Saturday, it's Gray Cloud Radio. For all the show times, you just check out our pinned post on popculturecosmos.com, on Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook. And if you want to subscribe or download to our shows, hey, you can do that as well on Apple Podcasts, on Podbean, which we just found out we're really popular there. So thank you to a shout out to all of our Podbean subscribers. Also as well, Podchaser, ESO Network, Tangibound Network, Tangibound Network, Gunny Geek Network, and over 20 different podcasting networks. And we truly appreciate every single one of them for playing the Pop Culture Cosmos and PCC Multiverse, the number 1 and 2 shows on the Podcast Radio Network for the month of February. And we're so thankful for it. Josh, you got a great thing going on with Humanica Media. So share to everyone what's going on with your great experience known as Humanica Media.
Well, I mean, I don't have 115 followers on Podbean, so it's kind of awkward. Now I feel like less of a human being.
But it's our network. Pop Culture Cosmos is an us thing.
It's us. Yeah, it's us. It's us. And Humanican properties are just the planets that float around the cosmos. We wouldn't be here without you're the Milky Way to our Jupiter and Saturn. So
I was hoping you were going to say Three Musketeers because I like that more, but okay, that's fine. I'll take it. But yes, what's going on, my friend, with your great stuff going on at Humanica Media?
We got a new Topicocalypse came out this morning. That has to do with it's kind of a look back at all the news items that happened in February. As far as like the Super Bowl and the school shootings and all that stuff. So we kind of give our thoughts on that. And then there's a new Super BS cast released tonight. We talk about the Oscars and some Nintendo announcements and some Call of Duty and we're just talking about the new YouTube and Twitch community policies and all that stuff. And then there's always, you can check out a new episode of What About This that dropped on Monday. But as always, check us out on Podcast Radio Network every Tuesday.
That's awesome indeed. And I tell you what, you ought to check it out as well, the Attack of the Humanicans on the Podcast Radio Network, and then also as well on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Podbean as well. For us, if you download our show, just want to let you know, as a little side extra, you will get on this show, the PCC Multiverse, if you download it, the full conversation I had at the back end with Rob McCallum talking about crowdfunding, because he's got a great crowdfunding event coming up in the London, Ontario area. And we're going to talk extensively about the questions he gets about crowdfunding and about crowdfunding things. So got to check that out at the back end if you're downloading the podcast. If you want to check out our great site, popculturecosmos.wordpress.com, we're doing a lot of great stuff there, including our latest article, which tells you to binge watch The Alienist, as I tell you why it's such a great show and definitely worth a binge watch. So, Josh, Nintendo Direct had one of its great 30-minute directs here recently, and I know there's a lot of stuff to talk about, including South Park coming to the Nintendo Switch, The Fractured But Whole, Crash Bandicoot, the Insane Trilogy coming as well. And then there's also obviously the Dark Souls coming, the remastered version coming to Switch. But there was something above all others everybody has been talking about nonstop that they're so excited for, which you and I, when we were talking about year 2 of the Switch, that they needed to do and have at least one big title in the queue. And it looks like they may have it coming most likely this fall or this winter, and that's going to be a Super Smash Brothers game. So your thoughts on Super Smash Brothers coming to Nintendo Switch, and we think it's going to be a new version of the game and not the port that was from the Wii U.
See, that's the thing we don't know yet, because the trailer opened at first, they made you think it's going to be another Splatoon game, because it showed the Splatoon characters running around shooting each other. And then it kind of, you see that big old like cross-looking symbol, and you saw the top of Mario's head and Link's hair blowing in the wind and stuff. So that was, and it's one of those trailers where they didn't really show much. So this is making me wonder, like, if hold on, sorry, man, 1 second.
Well, I'll say this, that after reading, investigating a little bit further while you were talking, it actually looks more like it might be just the bump up from the Wii U, like they did with Super Mario Kart. If that's, I mean, I'm kind of on the fence, but that may be the case with all new characters added, like you were talking about with the Splatoon brothers, with the Splatoon characters and whatnot. So, um, with the Splatoon characters and maybe even a little bit more added on. And obviously, there's going to be a little bit more support for it as well. So it may actually be just a port of the actual Wii U title after all.
Right. So this is my question. Is it something that they just threw out there, it was just an idea they threw out there and they threw this trailer together real quick? Or is it something they've been working on for a while and they just felt like they needed to reveal it because they weren't sure, because people were questioning what was coming out for them. But, either way, it's going to be cool to have Super Smash Bros. On Nintendo Switch. I'm going to go down the list here really quick. So Mario Tennis, have any interest in playing that one?
A small amount. Mario Tennis has always been fun, but there are actually better tennis games that are on and have been available on video game formats that I like that are much better. The Top Spin series and Sports Champions on the PlayStation. I remember that was very good, but I have some interest in it. But it's the tennis for it has been okay at best on any Nintendo format.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of like seeing Sonic, the Sonic Olympic game. I just am not too interested in it. It looks fun. Maybe I would try it out 1 or 2 times. Was not something I'd pick up. I'm gonna skip the 3DS games.
What about you were talking about? Um, well, how about the return of Dark Souls? In this case, a Dark Souls remastered coming to Switch. What are your thoughts on that?
I I like the idea of it. I don't know if it's something that I'm going to be in a hurry to play. I remember playing that game the first time through. It was so punishing. Like it was just one. It was it felt awesome when I finally finished it, but it's one of those games that just like beat the snot out of me when I was sitting there trying to play it. And I I don't know how much I don't know if I'm in a hurry to experience that again or not. Is that something that you're interested in?
A little bit, and but is it the thing to get me into the Switch? Personally, no, it's not gonna. It's something that I'm gonna get as an add-on once I buy a Switch. But yeah, it's not gonna be something that I want to. It's gonna sway me over to actually getting a Switch anytime soon. But while you grab a Kleenex for the snot that just got beat out of you, I want to ask this: Okami, when it came out on the Wii, was like this small selling cult hit, very highly rated, critical darling that came out. But then it's now been re-released and remastered to the point where, yes, it's still a great game. It has aged, but it still has its true colors and its true spirit within the game. But is it so special now that it's being ported to now it's going to be ported to the Switch after being ported to so many other outlets before?
Here's where I stand on that. Like I say this to the guys on the Super BS cast. It's the novelty of playing it on Nintendo Switch. I mean, you could give me any game you want, like any game that's already out on PlayStation or came out on the Wii or whatever. And just the fact that I could take it on the go with me makes it worth playing to me. Like Elder Scrolls, for example, Skyrim. I've played it 3 or 4 times now with all the remasters and reduxes or whatever that have come out. But now it's out on the Switch. Am I gonna go out and buy it? No, but if someone gave it to me, would I play it? Heck yes, I would play it just because I can take it on the go and play when I'm on my lunch breaks and stuff. Um, one game that I am really excited about is Octopath Traveler. Have you seen any videos for that?
I did see one. It looks very, very cool, and I think that's something that could be a winner for the Nintendo Switch once it comes out.
Right, and it's they've been talking about it for a while. It's like, at first it's called Project Octopath, and they had a they had a demo come out on the Switch you could play. But what looks interesting about this game is it's basically, I don't know, it's not, how like the old Final Fantasy games and the old Zelda games were top down? It's like a mixture of top down and 3D platformer. So it's, I don't know, like it looks like a very beautiful game. So I'm curious to see how it plays out. If it looks anything like the trailers, if the demo uh if it's going to expand upon what's in the demo, or if the demo is just not what the final product's going to look like. But I'm really excited to play it.
It sounds like a great thing indeed, and I definitely that will probably be a big win for Nintendo having that on the Switch as one of its great titles. So definitely, it's a lot of great things to talk about there. A lot of great insight into what Nintendo has as far as some great titles going forward. Plus, also as well, it leads you into what's coming at E3 because they're going to have another Nintendo Direct coming around that time as well. So definitely a lot of very solid things coming to Nintendo Switch, and definitely looking forward to getting my hands on. Definitely looking forward to being able to see how these games perform on the Switch and seeing how well they'll perform with audiences. What are your thoughts on the Nintendo Direct that came out this week and all the great announcements, including a Super Smash Brothers that's coming this year later on, that's coming later this year that most likely be from going back and forth on it, but it'll most likely be the port of an upgraded port from the one from Wii U. Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Also, as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanity Media, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. Well, we've got a great. Well, we've got Jay Bartlett from Nintendo Quest. He is standing by to talk Overwatch League, and a lot. He's going to be talking his London Spitfire. He's going to be talking the overall health of the league and some of the ideas that we have about trying to make it even more popular to audiences out there. He's going to be coming. He's going to be talking about that. He's going to be talking about that after the break, and after that, Josh and I will be just chatting about why. We'll actually be going over why Fortnite might be outdoing PUBG at its own game later on in the show. This is the PCC Multiverse. Sorry, sorry about that. Fire alarm went off just for a sec.
This is completely unprofessional.
I know. Well, that's why this is the thing we do not advertise.
You always say before you start a broadcast, silence your phone and fire alarms.
Exactly. Well, yeah, there's a candle that was burning just a little bit too much. So, if I'm hoping that this residual sound and the fan that's going off of the oven is not going to actually be ending up on this. I'm just praying.
I can't hear it, so I mean,
Okay.
if that makes you feel better.
But this mic is pretty good. This mic actually picks up the TV that's like on the other side of the house, picks up chairs moving, picks up dishes, picks up the microwave. So, yeah, just hold on.
Mic, man.
It's Audio Technica. Hey, everybody out there, Audio Technica. You want to email us? I'll give you the info on it. I'm not going to give it to you. I'm just saying that I'm going to tell you what brand, what model it is. So,
I mean, I'm like, I spent a fair amount of money on this mic setup I've got, so I think I'm good.
this one's quite pricey. So, all right. Let's see if we can try it. I hope to God that doesn't pick it up. And we're back with a PC. And we're back to close out the show. This is the PCC Multiverse. This is Gerald Glassford. One more time with my good friend Josh Peterson. Want to thank you for sticking around and hanging out with us here on the show. Josh, before we head on out, we've got to talk a little bit about Fortnite because it was a game that came out to middling reviews. It really wasn't that interesting. Some people actually sent us over some codes and and it really did, it just really just didn't, it was like a fort building game. It was like kind of like a little bit of strategy mixed in. But lo and behold, the developers there at Epic really got in tune with what's going on because they saw this other little game called Player Unknown Battlegrounds really start to take off and said, hey, we got to do a battle royale game of our own. So they went ahead and did a version of the battle royale formula on their own Fortnite platform, and it has taken off so well to the point where in the past 2 weeks it has now overtaken every other game in the streaming format on Twitch. More people watch people playing the Fortnite Battle Royale games than any other at this point in time. So I ask you, Josh, is Fortnite with its Battle Royale format outdoing what PUBG has been doing so well?
Wasn't there like there's like a lawsuit or something between Fortnite and PUBG or the developers because someone said somebody copied somebody, if I remember correctly.
Well, I think at some point in time, yeah, because they are so similar. But then again, the battle royale genre is going to have so many similarities from everyone that duplicates it. In fact, H1Z1, which kind of, which predated, get this, predated PUBG and Fortnite at its own game in the battle royale formula. But that was out in beta format forever. Just came out as an actual released game to no advancement, to the point where it was one of the most widely looked at games in its original format when it was an offshoot of another game. And now it's gotten to the point where they have to now give it away for free in order to get people to play the game. And that's just 1 month after actually releasing it. So though that game obviously could say something about PUBG and Fortnite stealing its ideas. In fact, all these battle royale games that are going to be coming out that we're going to see clones of, they're all going to steal something from each other, correct?
Yeah, I mean that's just kind of the nature of the game business. If you look, same thing with first person shooters. They're all kind of the same. They
A
just
horde mode, when Gears of War came out with a horde mode, then everybody started doing a horde mode.
Yep. That's right. That's right. Yeah, there's hordes and then there was whatever Halo had. Yeah, ODST that was fun though. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like it it looks it's they're fun games. People like them. I don't understand why people want to sit there and watch people play. I guess I could see why they do it because there's a lot of people who do a lot of interesting things on there and you got to wonder like what the IQ and the reaction times of some of these people playing are because I've seen some crazy stuff going down on the Fortnite videos. But yeah, no, it's a cool game. I'm sure we're gonna be seeing more stuff like that coming out in the future, especially with PUBG has been such a massive success. And I know if you go out and buy the Xbox One X right this week, you can still get a free copy of PUBG. Have you played them or are you playing them?
I did try the Fortnite for a little bit, and it does have its appeal with PUBG and whatnot. They're so similar to me, and I know fans of each are going to tell me that they're not, but to me, they seem very similar in their styles. I know Fortnite just came out with a auto royale battle royale version with automobiles where you're in an automobile shooting at other people while the playing field continues to shrink and all that. That type of nuance seemed to even spark even more interest in Fortnite and whatnot. But the millions the millions of concurrent players in PUBG has been hit by Fortnite. They probably won't tell you on the surface, but there's been definitely a marked interest in Fortnite's formula for the battle royale genre, and I definitely think that there's a lot of interest going that way and away from PUBG. And at some point, PUBG has to do something a little bit different than just offering some free maps and a little bit of DLC and all that, and doing something more to spike up their genre. In fact, at this point in time, the battle royale genre seems to be at least close to or at its plateau in popularity. I think at some point in time, maybe in the next couple of years or so, we will probably see a dip in popularity as people trend towards some other game format. But at least right now, it looks like Fortnite and PUBG are now 1 and 2 on Twitch. But very soon, it could be someone else that comes up with a nice little variation on that formula. But definitely, PUBG has been hurt by the success of the Fortnite Battle Royale option that is now available on Xbox One and PS4 and also PC as well. So definitely some very interesting thing that I read. Like I said, the explosion of viewage and interest in Fortnite is definitely something to be reckoned with, and definitely something for the future going forward that PUBG definitely has to be concerned about when it comes to the battle royale genre.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and I'm sure PUBG will come out with something or something. I think it's gonna be not funny, but like they're gonna start taking notes on what each other's doing, and we're gonna see them. I think we're gonna be seeing them competing for a really long time. It's not a genre of game that I'm interested in playing, but I do see why people like it.
I do see why they like it too, but like I said, I think at some point in time it will probably have its fall. But for right now, I think the battle royale genre seems to be gripping with audiences. And at the top right now, you got to say Fortnite is the game to watch, at least if you're on Twitch. What are your thoughts on Fortnite Battle Royale and obviously the Battle Royale genre in general for video games? Is it something you watch? Is it something you play? And is it something you follow? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Also, as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. Well, I want to thank Rob McCallum, as always, for being part of the Cosmic Crossfire. Also, as well as part of the Nintendo Quest takeover, Jay Bartlett. Want to thank him as well for his thoughts on the Overwatch League. Josh, any last thoughts on the way out?
Yeah, so we kind of been closing the show with some talk on Ready Player One. I have been reading a lot of hate on the internet lately regarding Ready Player One, and it's made me like kind of reflect on the attitudes of gamers. And gamers, like, we're a bunch of jerks. Like, honestly, there's nothing that could come out in the entertainment world that will please us. Like, nothing. And anytime we see something, like, I'm excited. I'm really excited to see this movie because those are all things that I'm interested in. But as gamers, it's like, we constantly, I'm going to throw myself in that category, but anytime something comes out in the pop culture world, we're never pleased with it. And we always want to, and this is why video game movies do so poorly, is because we want to go in hating it. And I think that Ready Player One is already getting that kind of negativity, and it hasn't even come out yet. And it's kind of, I don't know, it irks me a little bit.
And that's a shame because I definitely want to see it too. I love the book and I really like what the movie is going to represent. And I know there was a lot of flack this past week in regards to the movie posters that recreated famous movie posters from the past with the Ready Player One characters intertwined with it. But come on, people, it's just trying for fun. It's just trying to catch on the pop culture, twist and whatnot. Please, just give the movie a chance to succeed. It does have Steven Spielberg behind it. Obviously, if he didn't believe in the picture and enjoy the book, he wouldn't have gone and put his 2 cents in as director into the movie. Give it a chance before give it a chance when it comes out, and before you start talking negatively about it. Let's take a look at the movie first before you say anything. And like I said, let people enjoy it for what it is, because it is pop culture, and that's what we do here every week. We love to talk about what's going on, and for the most part, the best of pop culture. And I'm hoping, as is Josh, that Ready Player One, the coming out later this month, will be what we feel is the best of pop culture. So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day right here in the PCC Multiverse. We thank you for listening, and here's hoping you have yourself a great day.